Alrighty, yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to Timmy's secret wish makes no sense. I kinda remember this special, not really, but we'll see. But without further ado, though, let's get right into it, shall we? Let's get right into it. As you know, if this gets copyrighted, if this gets blocked, I gotta do the screen effect on it, because that's the only way I'm gonna get this through is through the screen effect, because that's the only way they can't track it. So if I gotta put the screen effect on here where it's white and shit like that, then y'all just gonna have to deal with that, bro. I ain't got no other choice. I don't have no other choice, man. They keep blocking these videos, bro, because dude don't know how to, spice it up a little bit so that way they don't get blocked. I don't get it. It gets blocked on my end, but he uploads it with no problem. I don't understand that. But anyways, though, without further ado, let's get right into this.
Timmy's secret wish is a special that people have some mixed reactions to. While some look back fondly on the episode and like its crazy twists, others, like myself, think it makes absolutely no sense and even insults the entire legacy of the show by retconning many beloved episodes that aired before it. This special premiered during season 8 all the way back in 2011, putting it firmly in the second era of the show rather than the original era. What do I mean by these eras? Well, after FOP first premiered in 2001, the series actually ended in 2006 after 5 seasons and 80 episodes. This would have made Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 3, The Jerkinators, the unofficial ending to the FOP universe, even though it is an episode of Jimmy Neutron technically. But FOP was revived again in 2008 and continued on for 10 years until Butch Hartman would part ways with Nickelodeon in 2018. For many fans of the series, this timeline provides us with different eras of the show, and some fans even argue about differences in the vibe or quality of the show from season 6 onward, especially since many of the show's most iconic episodes, such as Channel Chasers, Christmas Every Day, and The Big Superhero Wish, all come from older seasons. In contrast to those episodes, Timmy's secret wish is a very season 8 episode. And by that I mean the plot makes no sense, the show ignores its own rules and lore, and characters do things they would have never done in previous episodes, disregarding all their established characterization whenever the plot calls for it. But what exactly makes Timmy's secret wish so illogical and flawed? It's been a horrific 13 years since this special aired, so I decided it's time for a rewatch to see if this special still makes no goddamn sense. Let's get into it. So the special starts off with a regular theme song, and after that there's a weird title sequence which it doesn't really have anything to do with this special at all. It's Timmy, Cosmo, and Wanda searching around tracing footprints as if they're trying to solve a mystery, but Timmy knows about the secret wish already. He's not trying to solve any mystery. It just makes it makes no goddamn sense already at the start. The plot starts off with Timmy making some rapid fire wishes, wishing for random things, as he's only a few wishes away from his millionth wish. Jorgen arrives just as Timmy makes his 1 millionth wish, and he points out that no other kids have ever reached 1 million wishes, which is kinda sus. But since Jorgen is there to celebrate this milestone with him, he shrugs it off and immediately breaks into a dance number with the whole cast. A song starts playing called A Million Wishes, and it's full of throwbacks to older episodes as they sing about the crazy wishes Timmy has made over the years, like being kid president in Schools Out the Musical, and comic books turning real in The Big Superhero Wish, as well as the traumatizing wishes, like Cosmo giving birth. And when the song ends, Jorgen says to Timmy, well, apparently you didn't wish for a good singing voice. Boom. Roasted. Cut to Fairy World, and whoa, why does the animation look weird like that? I feel like I'm running a race in VR Fairy World. Kinda crazy. There's a big parade for Timmy and Fairy fairy world, celebrating all his excessive wishes. And honestly, with the amount of references to older episodes, this almost feels like a series finale of sorts. I actually love this show, so I'm not necessarily mad about it. They can stroke their own dicks if they want to, and that's what it seems like they're doing.
Hey, yo.
The floats are all on fire, representing the mass destruction Timmy has caused to the city of Dimsdale with every single wish. The Fairy Council then realizes how much damage Timmy has caused. And you're telling me they didn't notice until the parade pointed it out for them? Who planned the parade? Jorgen then declares Timmy to be the worst god kid ever and throws him in fairy jail. And I have to point out that in season 5, episode 15, Hassle in the Castle, we meet Marianne, a former godchild of Cosmo and Wanda's. Marianne got her fairies taken away after she wishes for the assassination of Archduke Frank Ferdinand, instigating World War I in the process.
You abused our magic, took out Archduke Ferdinand, and plunged the world into World War I!
The total casualties from World War I are estimated to be about 37 million, and yet Timmy is still declared to be the worst god kid ever, even with Marianne having the blood of 37 million innocent lives on her hand.
Exactly.
I don't know about that one. Jorgen tells Timmy he has to stay in fairy jail until his trial. And is this kidnapping? Will his parents down on Earth be looking for him? I don't know if this is alright. He then tells Timmy that he'll have to defend himself in fairy court and prove he's not the worst god kid ever if he wants to keep his fairies. Otherwise, he'll lose them and every wish he's ever made will be undone. Ooh, that's not good. Cosmo is assigned to be his defense attorney, and Timmy realizes he's doomed. And then suddenly, Foop shows up, the anti-fairy of Poof, and reveals he is the attorney for the prosecution. He says to defeat Poof, he knew he'd have to become something truly evil, so he became a lawyer. And that tracks. I'll take it. He explains that if Timmy is convicted and all his past wishes are erased, Poof will be erased too, since Timmy was the one who wished for his birth. So the episode has now taken a dark turn. If Timmy loses in court, a baby will die. Could this be the post-birth abortion Trump has warned us about? Yikes. By the way, wouldn't erasing Poof's existence also erase Foop's existence? There can be no anti-fairy without the fairy counterpart. No Poof equals no Foop. Therefore, Foop is effectively trying to kill himself retroactively, and I'm gonna say, I'm invested. Timmy tells Cosmo, you've gotta prove I'm not the worst kid ever, and Cosmo says, what? I thought we were trying to prove you were the worst kid ever. What am I supposed to do with all this evidence against you? So, things aren't looking good for Timmy, not at all. The trial begins, and Foop starts by blaming Timmy for global warming itself, and Exhibit A shows Timmy complaining he's too cold and wishing it was warmer, which actually melts the polar ice caps. All Timmy did was wish that he was warmer. That might be on Cosmo and Wanda there. I don't know. Foop's next argument, Timmy made it rain rabbit dingoes. Huh? Yeah, you heard me right. Exhibit B shows Timmy saying, I'm bored. I wish it would rain rabbit dingoes, causing dingoes to rain down from the sky, wreaking havoc, leading to an unfathomable number of deaths. Rabies has a fatality rate of nearly 100%. Timmy has just killed hundreds, thousands of innocent lives purely out of boredom. The jury is shocked and appalled, and quite frankly, so am I. Panicking that they're now losing the trial, Cosmo yells, I move to strike, and he balls a strike. Good one. Unfortunately, Foop is just getting started. He has loads more evidence proving Timmy is a sociopath and a menace to society. When it's Cosmo's turn to respond, he says the defense rests and explains the bowling made him tired and he needs a rest. Fair enough. So Wanda takes over and we continue the trend of referencing past episodes when she summons witnesses to vouch for Timmy's character, including the Crimson Chin, Mark Chang the alien, and Dark Laser. However, Foop gets each one of them to admit that Timmy caused just as much harm as good in their respective episodes. Timmy objects because he's losing. That's real. I get it, buddy. I feel that way all the time. And complains to Cosmo and Wanda they're blowing the trial. In a moment of self-pity, he asks if there's anyone they can call as a witness who will actually speak highly of him. And just then, Poof takes the stand and says, poof, 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 poof. And the Fairy Council says, interesting interesting point, Poof. I guess Timmy has made some good wishes too. They play a little montage of nice wishes. His mom winning Miss Dimsdale so she could feel beautiful. His wish for Cosmo and Wanda to have Poof so they could complete their family. And that's it. The Fairy Council is convinced Timmy is not the worst kid ever. They're just about to declare Timmy officially not guilty when Foop yells, "Wait, stop," and announces he has evidence that will really get their balls in a twist. Timmy has not made 1 million wishes, he says, but rather 1,000,001 wishes, because he's made a secret wish. Everyone is shocked. Jorgen says there hasn't been a secret wish since 1986 when a kid wished for a giant fairy-eating bird. All of the fairies present in the courtroom react with strong PTSD symptoms upon mention of this bird, and Jorgen says they have carefully tracked every wish ever since then. Wanda denies ever granting a secret wish. Cosmo says he doesn't remember doing it either. Wanda says, "Timmy, what did you do?" And Timmy says, "Okay, don't be mad," and he instantly folds. They have no evidence against him, and he instantly shows all of his cards and confesses that he secretly wished for everyone to stop aging so he could stay 10 years old forever and never lose his fairies. Cosmo doesn't remember granting the wish because Timmy also wished that he would forget. They ask Timmy when he made this wish, and he says 50 years ago. Bruh, what? So Timmy is 60? No. No. I absolutely refuse to accept this reveal, and it makes no goddamn sense. Do people not notice that nobody is getting older? That wasn't stated as part of the wish, but clearly nobody has ever questioned why time has just frozen. But is time even frozen? I don't think it is, because we see that Dimsdale goes through different holidays and seasons. So time itself is not frozen, it's just the biological clocks of human beings that are frozen? Which is crazy. And if you actually think about the lore of the show, you're telling me a majority of the past episodes, Timmy is a grown-ass man frozen in a child's body? And what about everyone else being frozen? What if there was a lady who was 8 months pregnant when Timmy made this wish? Is there a 2,634-week-old fetus somewhere? Disturbing? Upsetting? I want to throw up. Also, one last thing. Apparently 50 years have passed, but in Abracatastrophe Season 3, they say only 1 year has gone by since Timmy got his fairies. So that means 49 years occurred between Season 3 and Season 8. Okay, alright. So the Fairy Council says it's official. Timmy is guilty of being the worst fairy god kid ever. So now all of his wishes will be undone. Right on cue, a giant void appears and sucks up both Foop and Poof. Cosmo and Wanda watch in horror as their baby disappears right before their very eyes. They hug each other while sobbing over the loss of their only child, and this is fucking dark. My god. Timmy apologizes and promises he'll make this right, and then we get a quick close-up of Jorgen's cheeks to lighten the mood.
Hey, yo.
Say, he's packing heat on his crotch.
Hey yo, hey yo.
The council summons Father Time himself to undo the secret wish. He whips out a magical clock and sets it forward 50 years, aging everyone on Earth 50 years in the blink of an eye. This would effectively kill off the human race as a species. Think about it. If even a 2-year-old baby is now instantly 52, that means there is not a single human being on Earth who is the proper age for reproduction. So the human race will either die out or we'll have a pretty weird looking generation. Timmy is sent back to Earth, but he's 60 years old now, and damn, that's a rough 60. He looks more like 80. He even jokes about wearing an adult diaper, and this is crazy. He is still below the average age of retirement. He shouldn't be wearing an adult diaper yet. The world has also somehow become more futuristic. There's all this technology, and the house is floating above the damn ground. But when Timmy turns on the TV, news reporter Chet Betcha says that everyone has aged 50 years overnight. If that's the case, how did technology progress in society if everyone just rapidly aged 50 years overnight? That doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense. If people just simply wake up older, then how would the objects around them change and be magically upgraded and more futuristic? I don't buy it. Timmy still lives with his parents, who are now old and senile, and he also runs into older versions of Chester and AJ on their motor scooters, and older but still icky Vicky as well. But Timmy feels like something is missing in his life, and he tries to figure out what it is when Mr. Crocker pops up. He is the only person who is still somehow looking the same age, and when Timmy questions this, he says, "I've looked this way since I was 10. Is Crocker a goddamn vampire?" Crocker reminds Timmy that he used to have fairies, and Timmy immediately lights up and starts to obsess over it, mimicking Crocker's own obsession with fairies, and they make a plan to get back to Fairy World. Crocker takes Timmy back to his place, and we hear his mother's voice off screen. She is now 130 years old, and he still lives with her. That's absolutely insane. Crocker actually straight up tells her to go into the light already, and that's wild to say to your own mother, but she's 130, so he's kinda got a point, I guess.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Portal back to Fairy World in the living room. Timmy points out that the portal is actually set to the surface of the sun location, and Crocker says, "Oh right," and switches it back to Fairy World. Good thing they noticed that, or else we would have saw 2 gruesome deaths. The machine works perfectly, and they arrive in Fairy World, but Timmy is still having trouble remembering his fairies. Crocker says, "Not a problem. I have photos of them from that time I spent a weekend disguised as your mom." He pulls out a photo album to reveal himself dressed in drag in Mrs. Turner's I must say. He then tells Timmy things got a little awkward with your dad and shows a picture of himself still in drag whilst in bed Unacceptable. The next photo shows Crocker having to physically punch Mr. Turner away, suggesting A, he could not in any way tell that Mr. Crocker wasn't his wife, and B, he kept making advances on Crocker past the point of a verbal no. And I need to know, who took these goddamn pictures? The next parent-teacher conference had to have been awkward after this. After traumatizing Timmy with these photos and their implications, Crocker flips to the final photo in the album, which shows Cosmo and Wanda. And Timmy, how did he not notice Crocker standing right behind his shoulder taking this picture? He's usually on such high alert. Luckily, after seeing Cosmo and Wanda in the photo, Timmy remembers them, and they happen to be literally at their doorstep. I love the detail that their house itself is inside a giant fishbowl. Great touch. Cosmo and Wanda answer the door, and once they realize it's Timmy, they give him a hug, and Cosmo changes him back to a kid again. Timmy says it's great to see them again, but something still doesn't feel right, and he suddenly remembers Poof is still gone. He tries to remind Cosmo and Wanda about him, and Wanda says, "We had a baby?" And this is genuinely a sad storyline. I can't believe it. Jorgen shows up and confirms that yes, baby Poof did exist, but he was not allowed to remind them, and the guilt ate away at him and caused him to get fat over the years. They ask how they can bring their baby back, and he says wishes that are undone get sent to a gray, sad, lifeless neverworld, to which Cosmo responds, "OMG, you sent our baby to Hackensack, New Jersey?" Shout out to Hackensack. Come on, boys. So they go with Crocker and Fat Jorgen to the gray neverworld, and we see all the wishes that get undone. And this scene is full of references to older episodes. Timmy's obsessive bike best friend, those little bunnies from the cereal boxes, the Channel Chasers remote, just a ton of stuff. Also, magic doesn't work in here, so they have to just outrun all of the things themselves, and there's rabid goddamn dingoes running around, so be careful. There's a little action fighting sequence with the Crimson Chin and some gnomes, which I'm not really sure why this fight even happens, to be honest. They also run into the fairy killing bird that the kid from 1986 wished up. Finally, amongst the chaos, they manage to rescue Poof Poof, and everyone makes it to the escape in time, except for Timmy, who tells the others to go ahead without him as he distracts the angry bird from getting the fairies so they can get away. They all get poofed back into Fairy Court, and Crocker screams, what Jersey City are we in now? Jordan says it's Fairy Court, and Crocker says, is that near New Brunswick? And I gotta say, I kinda love these New Jersey jokes, keep them coming. The Fairy Council tells them that they've been caught trying to restore the band wishes, and they will now be punished. What kind of punishment we talking here? A few spanks on the cheeks? Why not, eh? Wanda says,
Hey, yo!
punished. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Sure, Timmy has made some mistakes. Okay, a lot of mistakes actually. Pretty much nothing but mistakes. And she actually gets lost in thought about all Timmy's misdeeds and says, where was I? And Crocker says, I'm trying to figure that out as well. Are we north or south of Atlantic City? Hell yeah, they heard me. Another New Jersey joke. Let's go. Wanda argues that Timmy can't be the worst god kid since he sacrificed himself for all of them. Everyone starts vouching for Timmy and saying he's a good kid. Foop requests a retrial, to which the Fairy Council says, denied. Then Poof says, poo, and makes a cute little ass face, and the guy says, that's the most brilliant legal argument I've ever heard in my life. Let the retrial begin. Timmy suddenly appears in Fairy Court, and they tell him that they know he's a good person, but he's still guilty of making a secret wish. He apologizes, but explains he only did it because he considers Wanda, Cosmo, and Poof his family, and he can't imagine his life without them. Touched by this basic ass speech, they overturn their previous ruling and give Timmy his fairies back. Everyone cheers, and Father Time is once again summoned to show up. He holds out his watch motionless and makes a joke about time standing still, which nobody laughs at. He says, wow, tough crowd, everyone left in Jersey City, prompting Crocker to say, okay, so we're not there, as he crosses Jersey City off his list of potential Jersey locations he thinks they might be. And I just really wonder why they chose to make this running joke about New Jersey. I don't know. Father Time sets back time 50 years, aka back to normal. But what does that mean? What year is it? How old is everyone? And does Timmy get to keep all of his memories from those 50 extra years of childhood he just had? What about everyone else? Do Timmy's parents retain memories of working for 50 extra years while not going any closer towards retirement? None of this is answered. The best we get is we are shown that everyone de-ages, and by the way, Timmy was 10 years old already since Cosmo had already de-aged him, so when everyone goes back 50 years, Timmy should have turned -40 and disappeared into the void of space-time conceptualism. Timmy thanks everyone for helping him, including Crocker, who for some reason has been kind of helpful to Timmy this entire time, even though he's a straight-up villain every other episode. They go back to Timmy's room where everything is like it was before, and he says he learned his lesson to never make a secret wish. The final line of the episode goes to Crocker, who screams out, I've got it. We were in Hoboken, bringing the total number of New Jersey jokes to an impressive 5. So as the jazzy credits start on up, what did I think of Timmy's secret wish? Let me start with one word: trash. And now let's get into why. I gotta start with the easiest thing to rip apart here: the plot. It makes no goddamn sense. It just doesn't. And honestly, it's really goddamn weird to think of the implications for all the other episodes that came before this one. Think about some of the adventures Timmy has gone on, and then picture him doing that stuff, but he's actually secretly middle-aged. It's fucking uncomfortable and unnecessary. When Timmy sang about kids just being kids and Schools Out the Musical, was he what, in his 37th year of childhood, just going through life as this weird creepy man boy thing? This is all extra upsetting because I'm someone who absolutely loves Channel Chasers, which has a really fantastic and emotional plot about Timmy's fear of growing up and losing his fairies. And it ends with Timmy accepting that growing up is a part of life and childhood doesn't last forever. And I hate how in Timmy's secret wish, that character growth is completely undone. The lesson unlearned, forgotten, tossed aside.
But it's a cartoon, though. This is the thing about this show. This show's what's the word I'm looking for? The consistency within the show is not there a lot of the times. A lot of the times they just move on and act like things never happened. Some things do come back, some things don't come back. You know, there really hasn't been really that much consistency within the show. But the fact that in this episode they did point out nods to all Timmy's wishes, basically giving light to all the shows, I guess you could say that's there for consistency. But at the same time, you know, where we don't know where every episode went to. So maybe after Channel Chasers, he did probably accept growing up, but at some point was like, nah, you know what? Let me make this secret wish. We don't know when he made the secret wish. So that's the thing that that's the thing you're not pointing out. We don't know when the secret wish was made. We don't know the consistency of the show. We don't know where the show was at certain points of each season. So who knows where we could have been with Channel Chasers. Channel Chasers might have been when he was still legitimately 10 years old. You know that? So I can't agree with that at all because we don't have all the details.
It really cheapens the emotional message of Channel Chasers, which is pretty irritating and disappointing. And another issue with the episode is it commits maybe the biggest fatal flaw in storytelling, making your protagonist super unlikable. Timmy causes mass amounts of damage to the world with his wishes, and it's not even always on accident. He wished for Dimsdale to be on fire because he didn't want to go to school. He wished up rabid dingoes out of pure boredom. Sociopath behavior. Timmy is an absolute jerk. Sure, they give him a redemption arc and have him sacrifice himself for Cosmo and Wanda, but let's not forget, he's already lived a long, happy, and magic-filled life. He's goddamn 60, and he's had an endless childhood he never had to work a single day in his extended life. The redemption feels kind of tacked on, and you leave this episode with an icky feeling that the main character you've watched for years is really pretty gross and selfish. And besides Timmy being a jerk and all the weird implications about his age in other episodes, there's also just so many plot holes and logical inconsistencies that I don't even know where to start. This episode blatantly ignores many rules already established in the lore. Timmy is able to wish for something that's not allowed and gets away with it simply by making Cosmo forget. This implies that the rules are enforced only by the individual wish granter, and simply having them forget the wish is enough to get away with literally anything. But in other episodes, this is not the case. Every other time Timmy wishes for something that's not allowed, which happens all the time, Cosmo and Wanda's wands fail to work. In other instances, we see the rules enforced by Jorgen or some other central entity, and the wish doesn't get past them if it breaks the rules.
I wish you guys were having a...
Stop!
The way it works in Timmy's secret wish is not only inconsistent, it defeats the entire point of the rules being established in the first place. I understand it's a show about magic and fairies and it's not that deep, but it also shouldn't be so disrespectful to its own lore as to not get certain basic details right. The wand fart noise when a wish gets denied from being against the rules is something we have all known since our childhoods, man. Why didn't Cosmo's wand make the fart noise when Timmy wished for time to freeze? This special also features Crocker acting completely out of character. He is nice in this episode and I don't understand why. Mr. Crocker is an antagonist on the show. He's always against Timmy. Many episodes feature a Crocker vs. Timmy plot in some way, where Timmy has to stop Crocker from taking over the world or something. But in this special, for no reason and without any explanation whatsoever, Crocker just fulfills an entirely different role. He acts as a helpful friend to Timmy who runs into him and then just assists him on his journey for nothing in return. What gives? That is hashtag not my Crocker. Imagine if a random episode of SpongeBob, Plankton just started being nice to Mr. Krabs instead of trying to take over his restaurant. It would be weird. It would be out of left field. It would make no sense. Finally, there's a few moments in this special that feel weirdly dark, especially especially the parts about potentially losing baby Pooh forever. It's really brief, but seeing Wanda and Cosmo mourn over the loss of their child was kind of like, whoa, a little heavy for what we normally see on Fairly Odd Parents. And I don't know if it really worked for me. I think I was too irritated by all the retconning to even feel sad. Fairly Odd Parents easily could have ended after its original 5-season run in 2006, but they decided it was too popular a show and there was too much money to be made, so on and on it went. And this special is what we got as a result. Some people say that Poof, Sparky, the live actions, or Chloe killed the series. But the truth is, Poof didn't really do anything to the show, and Sparky, the live actions, and Chloe came after this show was already dead. I don't have any problem with Poof, neither with Foop, but for me, personally, the season that condemned FOP to jumping the shark status was the 8th season. No segments, just 6 chapters, which actually 2 are occupied by this special, so it's actually only 5, and this one goddamn sucks. But enough of me yapping. What do you guys think of this abomination? I mean, this special. Do you agree it's weird and uncomfortable that Timmy was secretly a middle-aged?
It's low-key a little off, but it's still pretty good for what it was. I don't really have that many gripes with it. It's a little off. There's some questionable things in this special, but other than that, it's just another Fairly Odd Parents episode. That's the main thing. Is it still in the realm of the Fairly Odd Parents episode? Most definitely. So it doesn't have its plot holes and problems, most definitely. But what show doesn't? I have the thing about me and shit like this. I just have a good sense to turn my brain off. I think if a lot of people turn their brain off, they would enjoy shit a little bit more. That's just me. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I'd probably say this is pretty solid. I do remember seeing this. Only saw it once. I do remember Poof going away. I don't remember the rest of the plot after that. I do remember him and Crocker teaming up, but after that, I don't remember too much about it. So yeah, man, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. Like I said, if this get blocked, you already know the screen gonna be changed to white and all that stuff. So yeah, y'all just got to deal with that. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.